If you like to grow paper whites, but you don't like them tipping over, growing too tall, looking untidy, and just being a general mess, here's a little trick for you. When you start your paper whites, you can water them with alcohol in the water, and that actually will stunt the growth. So instead of growing like 12 to 18 inches tall, they'll grow more like somewhere between, say, 6 and 12. It stunts the growth between 30 and 50%. You'll have to kind of try it on yours, see how it does. But all you really have to do this is just add alcohol to the water when you're watering. However, there are a few little details about that you need to know. So first, what alcohol are you using? Well, the original experiments were done with gin and vodka. Clear alcohol is definitely not something that's flavored or sweetened or has anything else in it, just clear, plain alcohol. If you don't want to use drinking alcohol, say you don't have it in your house, you're doing this with kids, it's not something you want to use, you can use regular rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. Your ratio is just a little different. So first off, the ratio. For regular alcohol, your ratio is 1 part alcohol to 7 parts water. Now, most paper whites probably don't need a ton of water when you're watering. I would recommend that you mix it when you're ready to water so that, you're getting everything at full strength. There's no evaporation or anything like that before you water while it's sitting around. Also, doesn't leave water and alcohol sitting around where maybe kids or pets could get into it. So I would say for 2 pots like these, probably most weeks when I'm watering, a half cup to a cup of solution is going to be enough. They don't really require a lot. So for a half cup, to make about a half cup, 1 tablespoon to 7 tablespoons of water. So 1 tablespoon of the alcohol to 7 tablespoons of the water makes you about a half a cup. If you have more pots or you need more, your home's drier, the plants need more, just double it, mix it, however. As long as the ratio stays the same, 1 part alcohol to 7 parts water, you're all set. Now, if you're using isopropyl alcohol, you do need to change up that ratio a little bit, and it's 1 part to 10 parts of water. So here's how to do it. Now, you don't want to start off in the first week with the alcohol in the water. You want to start off normally with regular plain water, just as you normally would. I planted these paper whites just a few days ago. I'm starting to see some green growth. When you start to see 1 to 2 inches of green growth sprouting from the top, that's the time to start watering with the alcohol if you want to stunt them. You can see this one's starting to get there, but when I tug up on it, I can see that there's no resistance, so I don't have very good root formation. And that's why you're only using plain water in the beginning, is because you want to give the roots a chance to form before you start manipulating these plants. So, and then also, you can see in the pots, I've got a little bit of a varied growth stage. So I don't want to stop growth on this one or this one where it's just starting to sprout until I'm seeing good growth on all of them. So even if that means this one has to get a little bit ahead, I'm okay with that. So in the first week, maybe 2, you want to look for green growth, sprout, root, and just be watering with plain water until they're ready. Now, once you see significant growth and rooting after about a week, then you start watering with the alcohol and water solution. And all you do is you just mix that every time you need to water them normally as you would, and that's all there is to it. So why does this work? Well, this research was largely done at Cornell University, and they're saying that probably the reason this works is that you're creating an environment of stress for the plants. Not a ton of plant stress, but enough that it stunts the growth. However, the beauty of this is that it does not stunt the growth of the flowers. So you're still going to get blooms just as abundant as you would if you watered with plain water all the time. And they're going to last just as long. So the only thing that you're changing is how tall the stems and leaves are growing before they bud and blossom. And that keeping them shorter will help keep them from tipping over. It also could help keep your vessels a little more stable. You know, I've got 3 bulbs in a 4-inch pot. This is what the kit came with. You could create a situation where that might be a little unstable. Paperwhites are usually not too bad, but I've had that with amaryllis bulbs. Now, I don't know if this works for amaryllis bulbs. All the research and information I found on it only talks about paperwhites, but I guess if you wanted to experiment, you could try that out too. I just would caution that you might want to start a couple of amaryllis bulbs if you're going to start playing around with it, but it should be the same theory, I would think. But you know, and in that kind of vein, you know, you could really have some fun with this. You could do some experiments, experiment with kids, make it a little science project, just make it a little science project on your own. Grow 1 pot with the alcohol and water and 1 pot without, and see what a difference it makes. So that's it, kind of a neat little trick. Helps keep things a little more compact, sturdier, and more tidy. And you should have a sturdier pot of Paperwhites in the end.